Get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Hello.
Hey, there you are.
What's going on, Lonnie?
Oh, not much. I'm actually kind of stretching at the moment.
Oh, lucky you. I just had to get some lunch for the kids all sorted out.
That we had some noise on when 5 minutes ago.
What was that?
Did it sound like background noise, like kids or you were out and about or something?
Oh, yeah. That was just the general noise in the house. Yeah.
Sure.
We sounded okay.
All your
now.
online schooling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Hold on. I'm going to mute myself because I'm about to sneeze.
While Lonnie sneezes, I'm going to get on the interwebs.
Interwebs? Why? You looking for topics?
I'm looking for topics. I am. So, it's been, we didn't get to record last week because,
no,
because just busy.
Yes. The last few weeks I've just been hammered hard, actually.
Oh yeah? That's good.
Yes,
hammered.
it is. Getting hammered, staying hammered. Business has been booming and business has been good. Kind of stressful, but yet that's what I do. So I manage chaos, basically.
Ooh, that's a good one. I manage chaos. Do you find that managing chaos in business carries over to the personal world and managing chaos?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like you have a certain level of tolerance with chaos, and somehow you're able to operate amidst all of the whatever's going on. So then that's business. But let's say, you go home and you're with family and things are on a personal level, like, I don't know, neighbors and community and schools, and things just happen that, is in itself chaos. Do you find that your tolerance for chaos in business carries over, outside of business?
I would say to some extent. I mean, when you see what I see in a day, you do gain perspective, because it was mean to you on social media, or my daughter's friends aren't best friends anymore today. And you just kind of take stuff like that in stride and, things worse. And I see the people I meet are at their worst, when they got a disaster that's happening. In this world, it's a lot easier. Either know how to do it, or I know who to call, or I have resources, stuff like that. But I don't let a lot of stresses get to me, by and large. So, but the only life stresses that I don't handle very well is like, outside of my immediate family's drama and stress, you know what I'm saying? Mama drama. I call it mama drama. Stuff like that. I mean, stuff can bother me, but by and large, I know how to control, or I know who to call when it comes to a lot of stuff. And even on the personal interactions with my immediate household family, it's like whatever the drama is, it's not as bad as the daughters think it is. You know what I'm saying? But that comes with life. Well, I'm 45 as of September 8th. So, my daughters are 16 and 16 and 14. So, their world ending ain't, you're a couple years older than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how to keep perspective on the day drama, but
Yeah.
so what are you finding on the interwebs?
What was that? Oh, I was just
What are you finding?
I was looking, I searched up dead cleanup business.
Did you really? What did you find?
Well, let's see. How to start a crime scene cleanup business.
Oh, that would be interesting. What did it tell you? That you have to go get your hepatitis scene and it takes 3 shots over 2 months, 3 months? I can't remember. That's the first step you got to do.
Let's see. First step. They call it the bio cleanup business.
Got to become bloodborne pathogen certified.
You need to specialize in dealing with biological material, including blood and other elements of human remains.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let me see if they have steps. Well.
Last time we spoke, we kind of ended on the note of, trauma cleanup.
Yeah. They mention, let's see, there's a company called Aftermath.
Yep, I was wondering if you were going to say Aftermath. They're a franchise.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think all they do is what we call trauma cleanup. I don't do anything but basically dead body cleanup.
Wow. If you're faced with cleaning up a death, crime scene, biohazard, or coronavirus, we are here to help. Yep. Nationwide. All right. Good for them.
You should buy the franchise.
There was I know of a band in high school named Aftermath. They played things like Guns N' Roses and Metallica.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Putting fondant on a cake ever again. You would have more business than you knew what to do with.
Yeah.
There is a movie called Sunshine Cleanup or Sunshine. There's a movie. And it was a pretty decent movie. I mean, it was way off base, but two ladies that I don't remember the story, how they come together or if they got fired or I don't know what. I don't remember the premise of how they came together, but they started a biohazard cleanup business and they were doing everything wrong. Like they just took out a bloody mattress and put it in a dumpster, and you don't do that. You don't do that at all.
Sunshine Cleaning is what it's called. 2008.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a decent movie. Just for something different to watch.
Amy Adams, Emily Blunt.
By no means.
This is Amy Adams, Emily Blunt, and Alan Arkin.
Alan, yeah, I remember Alan Arkin being in there. Wasn't he the dude from MASH?
Yeah, Alan Arkin is, sounds like, might be. Let me see. I gotta look at pictures. Listeners are like, no, he's the, well, if he was in MASH, I don't recognize him in MASH. Alan Arkin.
Well, now I'm Googling Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
When you're hiring someone to clean your carpets, you're probably assuming that they're using better equipment and better cleaning solutions than you would. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. Their equipment should heat the water to 200 degrees to ensure that your carpets are not only clean, but disinfected. Next time you hire someone to clean your carpet or tile, ask them how hot their water gets. If they don't know or it's less than 200 degrees, send them back and call me, Lonnie Beecham, with Restore It Restoration. I'll get your carpets done right and your life back to normal.
Oh, no. He's not in MASH. No, that was a different guy. I can't think of that guy's name in MASH. But
you think, when I hear Alan Arkin, I think, was it Alan Alda, who was in MASH, right?
Alan Alda, yes, that's who I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah, I remember Alan Arkin from Little Miss Sunshine.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever watched that movie. I don't know that one offhand at all. So,
okay, that was a fun movie. Okay. So I posted on social picture of the sky. It's a much better day today.
Can you see the sun?
Yeah, we've got some. It's just, got the blue sky with some scattered clouds, but none of that smoke that we had.
Haze.
Yeah, it was awful.
I was talking to Megan Hawks the other day, and it sounds like the whole West Coast from California to Washington's on fire, and she's made mention in the past that she doesn't know how to, I guess you all don't deal with tornadoes over there. That we just deal with thunderstorms, lightning storms, tornadoes, stuff like that. And then people don't realize anytime you hear about tropical storms or hurricanes hitting the Gulf Coast, depending on where it hits, it rolls right up through Louisiana, Arkansas, right into Missouri. And we were just kind of talking about some weather stuff like that. And a couple of weeks ago, remember, in the admin group, I posted, because we had, a couple different storms hitting Texas and Louisiana, about to be nothing. But, everything that I was coming across my desk and everything we were talking about was like how we were going to get inundated with all this rain, which always leads to flooded basements. And, we got nothing. We got nothing out of the deal. But I was prepped. I had everybody ready. I had backup equipment stacked up and, ready to go. And then we got nothing. Yeah, talking with Megan, about how bad the air quality is. And that's something we don't deal with around fires. It's just not a thing we deal with. Just lightning storms.
Yeah.
And tornadoes. Believe it or not, minor earthquakes. We had one of the largest. We actually have running right up to St. Louis over to Chicago. We have one of the nation's largest fault lines. It runs from Memphis to St. Louis up over to Chicago, called the New Madrid Fault Line. When growing up, I grew up 15, 30 miles from New Madrid, and we would feel some earthquakes every now and then, but nothing like you there at all. But if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole about earthquakes and stuff, look up the New Madrid Fault Line earthquake of 1811, 1812. We had two of them kind of back to back. It caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards. It rang church bells in Boston, Massachusetts. In Missouri, we still talk about that.
From when? What period?
From 1811, and then another one in 1812.
Oh, yeah.
It's still talked about almost 200 years later.
A sequence of three very large quakes. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't think about Missouri and earthquakes. We think of California, but we do have them.
Blah. Shaking caused sand blows, riverbank failures, landslides, and sunken land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and South Missouri, nicknamed Swampy Missouri, because once you go down the, they call it Benton Hill, but there all the way to the Gulf of Mexico is flat as fluffy. There's no hill to be seen, except hills you do see are from that earthquake in 1811 and 1812. So, boring history for people. I'm full of such useless knowledge. And if you're a music buff, I'll give you a band you can go down the rabbit hole of. It's called Uncle Tupelo. It's one of my favorite alternative country grunge bands. It's kind of unique. And they have a song talking about Dr. Browning. So in 2000 and let me think here. No, not 2010. When did I move here? 1991. There, some scientist, doctor guy was predicting that we were going to have another one of these earthquakes, same magnitude of the 1811 earthquake, and a lot of people in Southeast Missouri moved over that prediction, and that's actually how I ended up in Jeff City, because my mother owned a hair salon, and that's all people talked about for days on end, for months on end, and just never stopped talking about it. And finally she got, freaked out when one of her clients just had to order body bags for enough of the population of Sikeston, Missouri. And then she heard that on, I don't know what, within 4 days of hearing that news, we were living in Jeff City. That's how I kind of came to live here in 1991. So, But yeah, it even, that earthquake even is sung about with Uncle Tupelo. They're a band based out of St. Louis, Missouri. So, yep, there you go. There's some useless knowledge that will benefit you nothing.
I stumbled upon a website called SmokyMirror.com on an article that says strange events during the New Madrid earthquakes of 1812. And then I just kind of skimmed through it. And the first one mentions that before the earthquakes, there was a comet that arrived, preceding the earthquake, and it was supposedly a comet that hadn't been seen since ancient Egyptian times or something along those lines. So then,
I hadn't heard that one.
And some, other things like strange glowing or flashing lights in the sky. So I don't know. Without having to read through it, the takeaway is, if you're into that sort of thing, maybe UFOs are involved with or the cause of all the strange stuff, or had attracted them. The events had.
Well, I don't get off on UFOs at all, so I don't know about that one. But yep, it's legendary. 200 years later, people in Southeast Missouri still talk about it.
Very cool.
So did you find the list on how to start a biohazard cleanup company?
Oh, we've been hopping around. Let me get back to that browser tab. Let's see. Let's see. Oh wow, it does not even tell you. It doesn't bullet point like steps. It has you wondering if it's right for you. You've got to have sort of the I guess the stomach for it.
Which is easy.
Yeah.
It's the most part. Well, yeah, the stomach for it. Well, I mean, I guess I get callous because when you're standing over the what we see there, I'm just like, I got rubber boots. I got heavy gauge Tyvek suits. I got, the gloves. Everything's taped off. I'm wearing the mask. None of the germs are touch me.
Yeah, it's so then this one says your reputation precedes you, but I mean it mentions the importance of having a reputation through the folks from the police, first responders, and home insurers. So I mean you would have had to have been established in order to have that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you worked for another company before and you happen to have a network of folks in those sort of agencies and businesses already, and they're aware that, hey, you're starting your own thing. Let's see.
Coroners and not nursing home. Possibly nursing home, but funeral homes are another referral source. Topics we cover.
Real quick on funeral homes. I don't know if I ever mentioned in high school, a group of friends were responsible for setting up the, staging the backdrop for the photos, the couples photos and group photos.
Okay.
And, so, the theme was sort of, it's kind of regal, kind of, I don't know, it's kind of elegant or whatever. And the thing that was decided on is that we were going to have like some nice curtains and arches and columns and such in the background. But, living on an island, where the heck would we get those things? So someone had the brilliant idea of visiting a funeral home and borrowing some of their props, arches and columns.
Borrowing with or without permission?
No. With permission.
Permission.
So there's a good handful of photos in people's memories of high school where they're, having their couple shots with their significant other at the time, and not realizing that all that fancy stuff came from a funeral home.
Yeah, and little did they know grandma had the same backdrop at her funeral.
Yep. And I tell you, the trip to the funeral home and talking to the folks there was just like the creepiest thing, It is almost like you felt as if something ominous and suspicious and creepy was happening behind the scenes in the building, and the people too kind of looked a little off. So let's just get the stuff and get out of here.
Did I ever tell you about doing a water loss at a funeral home probably 10-ish years ago?
No.
When you have a water mishap in your house, the insurance industry calls it a water loss or a fire loss or vandalism loss or trauma loss or whatever. So we get called into this funeral home, and it is a massive rain and just poor construction. They flat roof over a flat roof, which I don't know if you know anything what that means, but basically they had multiple layers of roofing over a roof, and then they patched it. So we had this void of a roof, another roof, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we just stopped cleaning after we removed 1,500 gallons of water out of this void. We had to cut through the ceiling, or we had to cut through the roof to get to the layers of this water was up over a rubber membrane of the original roof structure. So I'll never forget when we walk in to kind of survey the damage. Two things jumped out at me. Three things actually jumped out at me. First thing I noticed was there was a grandma laying casket that but they were going to have that night or the next day, or I don't know the time frame. I don't remember. but she was literally getting rained on while she's in her coffin.
Oh, jeez.
And they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And I'm like, well, I don't know what really is going on yet. We hadn't discovered where all this water was, but I said the first thing you need to do is get Grandma out from under the water that's just pouring out of the ceiling into the casket.
Oh my God.
And they just freaked out and called us, and me and another guy went and moved. Well, the people were so distraught. The homeowner or the business owners were just, they were just upside down. They didn't know what to do first. So me and another guy rolled Grandma out from under this, gaping hole in the roof where the, ceiling tile finally gave loose and was just dumping water on her. So that was very odd. I'd never done that before. The second thing that sticks out to me once we were talking and like, where's this water? And we were looking at the roof and like, it's coming in from somewhere, but there's no water on the roof that we saw. And they're like, oh, however many years ago we put a rubber membrane over that and built over it. And so we had to cut through, just take our Sawzalls and just make a hole just to see what we had. And then we see what we had. And there was, we quit counting at 1,500 gallons, and water weighs 8.48 pounds per gallon. So there's like 12 to 15,000 pounds of extra weight on this roof.
God.
Second thing that I noticed was we were standing in the chapel, I guess you might call it. I guess one of the people where I was standing was under a chandelier, and I was noticing, and I remember thinking, well, that seems really low. And and then the guy happened to notice. He says, "Wow, that's about to hit your head." And I'm only 6 foot tall, and he's like, "That's about to hit your head." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I was thinking it was low." And he says, "Well, normally you can't even reach it with your hand." And but so much weight was sitting on this roof that it was bowing down, and it was about to collapse in on itself. And that's when we, I evacuated the whole building. It's like, everybody out. Sorry about Grandma in the casket, but she's already passed. But like, we got to get up there and figure out what's going on. And then the third thing. So once we got all the water at least extracted out of the multiple layers of roofing, we started then evaluating the building and seeing what the damage really was and where it's at and that sort of thing. And I went downstairs and I saw, somebody was in progress of embalming a lady. And I got to see what that looks like. And obviously you come into the world naked and you go out of the world naked. And I got to see what a dead naked lady looks like with embalming tubes put in her, and they literally freaked out, and they didn't think that we were going to end up having to go to the basement, but we found a lot of water down there as well. And that was quite the experience.
Oh, that's an amazing story. Holy cow.
Yes.
I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. And the building
that was
a
very, very unique experience right there.
As far as you know, the building
once you
still
get
around?
through the, oh yeah. Yep, they're still there.
Sorry, I cut you off. You're saying once you get through what?
Well, once you get through the morbid aspect of the building that we were in, the rest of it was just like any other day at the office, just drying a structure and getting air access to different cavities and everything that we do. But it was very unique to see a chandelier literally hitting my head. That was normally one, like a chandelier, like, you don't have them low enough where people can just touch them. And, yeah.
And that's around let's say another one of those madre earthquakes hit, then basically that structure is just going to just turn to pancake, isn't it? All of that water on the roof.
Well, if yeah, I mean, if it would have happened right then and there when you had an extra 20,000 pounds on a structural load that wasn't designed to hold 20,000 extra pounds, that would have been a horrible time to have one of our earthquakes. But we're far enough away from that fault line that we don't feel the earthquakes in Jeff City. But
okay,
yeah.
Jeez Louise! Wow. I'm imagining the casket with the dead grandma on it, and all this water's coming out of the ceiling and onto her, and everyone's freaking out and they don't know what to do, and they're thinking like, "It's a sign! It's a sign!" Oh,
well, luckily the family wasn't around. I don't know what they ended up. That is something out of my realm of expertise, is what to do with grandma in a casket getting rained on inside, other than the obvious of just moving her out of that particular spot. I don't know what they had to have just scrapped that casket and put her in a new one. But I don't know if it's. I don't know whatever happened. I never knew the lady's name. I never dealt with her family. I know nothing about that lady, but yeah, that's unusual to see grandma getting rained on in a casket.
You don't have air movers small enough to go in a casket to help dry it out?
We do.
And they don't have like a body size dehydrator to dry out bodies that just get too wet?
I don't know what they did with her, but
so you had to evacuate the embalming in progress.
Yeah. Well, that lady, she was dry. I had to just walk through the embalming room to get to the underside of where the other lady in the casket was getting rained on. So I just had to cut through that area, and it was like, that does pause you. I will admit, I am human, and that was a sight I've never seen before, and I hope to never see again. I'm not in the embalming business at all, but I did pause, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't know you were going to be coming down here. We just thought the water was upstairs." So
we would have had less tubes coming out of the body if we knew.
They might have covered her up or something. I don't know. Actually, another thing about that one, we were in a little side room off the embalming room. Another thing that sticks out in my mind is there was a gurney that just had a blanket laid over it, and I just thought it was a blanket laid over it. I couldn't see a body under it, but I actually put my hand on the gurney for some reason, and just to shove it out of the way so we could look up at the ceiling and stuff. There was actually a child under that blanket. I felt an ankle. And it was a small enough child that you didn't see or they had so many layers. I don't know how or why I didn't see a body laying under, but I did. I moved it and happened to grab it where the ankle is and to push it out of the way. And then I just, at that point, I went outside and I was just like, what was that? Was that what I think it is? And then I did ask the funeral home later on. I said, by any chance, was there a child on a gurney downstairs? And they're like, yes, there was. Why? Did it get wet? I said, no, but I felt the ankle when I was moving the gurney out of the way. And like, oh, we're sorry you had to experience that. I was like, yeah, that was a new one.
And then
can't believe I never told you this story.
No, that's just, then after that experience, you lost all your hair, right?
The moment that I started losing my hair, right there.
It's just, you touch an ankle, and that would just freak me out. Wow.
I'm a father first and foremost every day. And, when you feel that and the size and shape of everything is like, it couldn't have been an adult, especially where I was just pushing a gurney out of the way. And it was a very small ankle.
Wow. Yeah.
Work for me?
What's that?
So do you want to come to work for me? You move over here. I'll put you to work. Maybe we'll do another water loss in a funeral home.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll see you soon.
Topic, or are we just like reminiscing stories? I don't like this. I don't like this thought in my head.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how to get back on track at this point. The rest of the article, it really isn't helpful. It says, you gotta be empathetic. Dealing with sort of crime scene cleanup or human remains cleanup. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that story you talked about how you basically wanted, to get sign off on a job, or maybe even get paid on a job when somebody has passed away, and how do you address the family, when everybody's grieving.
It would be very helpful, and I wish they would teach people more, better than what they do about that aspect. That's why I don't do that anymore. The human aspect is why I don't do it. There's not much that phases me. Even what day was it? Wednesday. I was in a house. Lady, it was the filthiest house I've ever seen in my life, and just nasty. It was so nasty. It's seldom do I not want to sit at somebody's dining room table when I'm working up an invoice, but this one was so nasty. I didn't even want to sit nowhere in this house. It was nasty. The most active spider webs in the basement I've ever seen. It's a mold situation. It's a crazy story, but this lady has 15 boas of different flavors as pets, and lizards and salamanders and mealworms to feed them, and feeder mice, and snakes in a cage a lot better than I can grandma getting rained on.
You're not supposed to bring that image back. I'm trying to move on.
Yeah. I'm thinking about snakes now, but
yeah, the whole empathy thing. The closest thing that I can relate was when I had got off work and I was supposed to head over to school in the evening. So I stopped off at the house and found my sister-in-law's cat going through convulsions. And, I basically picked up the cat and took it to the nearest vet that I knew of. And it turned out that office didn't have anybody there that could help. So they directed me to another location. So I kind of went over to the next town and, brought the cat in, and in the end, she had to be put down. She was basically, gone. And it was really, it was a really sad experience. And I had to, call my sister-in-law and her husband to let them know, keep them updated what was going on. Really sad. And then you get to that point where you have to handle business, and it's like, okay, there'll be $150, and I'm like, having to deal with those emotions and break out a credit card to pay for something that you weren't planning to pay for because you weren't counting on, a little furry friend to pass away, and it was just so mechanical and cold, and, it was, that's the closest thing I can relate to where, the emotions and the tragedy is just weird.
Did I ever tell you about the time one of my employees had a pretty massive heart attack on a job?
No. Do tell.
Yeah. Emotions and stuff. It was kind of remind me of Gary. Yeah, him and I were just in the middle of nowhere. It was one of those jobs where the directions, like they didn't have a real address. That's how rural we were. And it was literally turn-by-turn directions, like go to the top of the hill. And when you see a big oak tree, turn right. And we're like, well, there's 1,000 hills and there's a lot of oak trees. And then all of a sudden we're just driving blind to get out there. And all of a sudden we just see the most massive oak tree at the top of the hill. And we're like, this has to be it. And then we turn right. And I don't remember the rest of the directions, but so me and Gary were down in the basement of he owned a furniture store down in Southeast Missouri. And I know the name of the business from growing up down there, but he just had a lake. This was Lake of the Ozarks. And it was his lake home, and it was a very high dollar mansion. Apparently, furniture business pays very well. And all of a sudden, Gary just starts sweating just horribly and just turned pale white. And I said, Gary, are you okay? And he goes, no, I don't feel good. And so we just stopped, and I was like, man, just lay down. Just like, it was like something I've never seen before, right? I said, yeah. You just need to lay down and like just calm down, and laid on the floor, and that didn't seem to help. And then we went outside on the deck, and man, he's we're laid him down on the Chase Lounge thing on this high dollar expensive mansion home, and he was not getting better. We just sat there for like 30-40 minutes, and wow. Next thing you know, he passes out. And I'm like checking. I was like, Gary, what's up? I mean, he's unresponsive. And then he kind of wakes up. He's like, what just happened? And I said, I don't know, but we need to get to the top of the hill. And this is Lake of the Ozarks. Everything is built on the steepest ravines. And then he passes out again. So I literally had to. Did you ever wrestle in high school?
No.
Okay. There's a wrestling move called the fireman's carry, and
I'm familiar.
Where you so you basically throw a guy over your shoulders. You got your right arm in his crotch, and you just reach up and grab his butt, and then lay him across your shoulder. I had to take him up 3 flights of stairs, almost straight up an embankment. I just knew I needed to get him out of there, and I got him up there. Not dropped him, but I placed him in the driveway at the top of this hill, and then I started checking for vitals. I was checking his wrist, his neck. I mean, I was trying to find a pulse. He was clinically dead, and so I grabbed my phone. This is long before smartphones. I flipped it open. I called 911 and what's your emergency? And I tell them, hey, I don't know what's going on. We're here at this what limited address I had. I said, my employee is unresponsive. We're laying in the driveway, and I don't know what to do. I need an ambulance now. And then they're like, well, what's your address? And they're like, I was like, well, it's, I just had to break out my folder and say, turn right at the big oak tree at the top of the hill. And they're like, sir, are you serious? I'm like, that's how we got here.
Is that your best impression of? Is that your best impression of Jackie Jones?
No, but they were just very 911. What's your emergency? They did not want to answer the phone. I can tell you that. But anyway, so I do that, and then so I'm checking his pulse. Unresponsive. I mean, I just hung up the phone, dropped it. I'm, sitting there. In fact, it was a Nextel phone, if that tells you how old that was. And this would have been 2008-ish. So I'm checking Gary out, trying to, I am trained in CPR. And so I was at that point, I had just tilted his head back,
Yeah.
Put my hands down his throat, made sure he wasn't swallowing his tongue, and I started chest compressions on him, and I had the staying alive in my head. I was like, all right, here we go, staying alive, and then I started to put my mouth on his mouth, and I paused because Gary was older than I was, and gray hair, gray beard. He had a beard and mustache and a goatee. And I was like, here we go. And right when I was about to give him the breath, then the ambulance turned around. I'm like, good, because, I didn't know what to do. And in this shorter period of time between carrying him up in a fireman's carry over my shoulder and up 3 flights of stairs, up a steep embankment, putting him down, calling the cops or the 911, and them showing up and me doing chest compressions, I was already exhausted. It is amazing how exhausting, when that adrenaline starts pumping, and then the relief you get when you see the ambulance turn the corner, and there they were. And then, they gave him some nitroglycerin and basically checked him real fast, said he's having a heart attack. They threw him in a gurney, and I had enough wherewithal to grab his phone, and I kept it with me. And, and off he goes into Lake Regional Hospital, and I grabbed his phone and called, found his wife. Luckily, it was before passcodes and Face ID and all this stuff, and grabbed his phone, called his wife, and said, "Hey, Jan, Lonnie, Gary's having a heart attack. He's in an ambulance on his way to Lake Regional Hospital." And there you go.
Wow.
He survived. He had 100% blockage on one side, 95% blockage on the other side, and survived the heart attack. Lo and behold, shortly after he kind of got through all that, and he was on light duty, so which meant he was out of the field into the desk, and he survived the heart attack. And then all of a sudden, he came down with cancer or something, and he made it through cancer. He had chemo and radiation at the same time, and made it through. And we're like, wow, what a year. This is all within months of each other. And he survives cancer, and then all of a sudden he did pass away just sitting at the dining room table. He just sat down to eat dinner, and no longer with us. So how's that for some stories, huh?
Well, yeah, I was optimistic that we'll be able to end on the recovery end, but
well, he recovered from the heart attack
and the cancer, and
cancer.
He just been chewed up and spat out so many times. Maybe it was just time. Holy moly! Wow.
6 in a row, we kind of end on a down note, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what to say, Lonnie. But these are amazing stories. I can't believe you put these many amazing stories on one episode.
I always tell people, I have stories for days, and I forget these stories. I forgot all about Gary. I forgot all about the funeral home.
Until we just started talking about dead stuff and empathy stuff, which wouldn't have happened had we not just kind of, played it this way.
Positive note, I do need to wrap this up. I need to call a Roxana about bat guano in an attic, and that she wants rid of yesterday, and I can't even get to her until October. So,
okay, that sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Bat guano on October that needs to be get rid of is very positive.
Yes, it is. Positive for me.
Yeah.
Positive for her too, because she can smell the bat guano from her living room, and it's up in her attic. So
yeah, you gotta look out for that histoplasmosis, right?
Yeah. You've learned something.
Yes, from the master.
Having teaching moments today, did I?
Ton. This is great. Yeah. So you go do the bat thing and the conversation with Roxana with the bat poop, and I'll do whatever I got to do, and I'll catch you when I catch you.
Would you eat a spider?
Yeah, I would. Deep fried in Villa Capelli olive oil.
Oh. I don't know if I could eat a spider, but I saw something the other day, and I said, "Oh, Ruel would eat this."
Yeah, I saw. I mean, they fried it up with garlic, and that looks good to me. Just not raw. No.
On that note, this is Lonnie Beecham with Restore Restoration. I got to get to work. This is a wrap. I just want to tell you, get your life back to normal.
Get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Hey, it's Lonnie B. Restoration. I'm the first one in this meeting. Ha ha ha! This is mine. What can I vamp about? Ruel told me he needs a couple minutes before he comes in, so maybe I can talk about Ruel. Tell you what I know. I don't know much, actually, to be honest with you. Never met Ruel in real life. One person in our circle of friends has ever met him in real life. Still jealous about that. He drives everywhere with his family every week. He's on vacation somewhere, but he never falls out to come see me. I see where I rank. Family over me. Come on. Just kidding. Family's always important. Family, why we do everything that we do. Guess while Ruel is doing whatever it is that Ruel does, I need to text somebody real fast. I need to text somebody real fast.
This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.